Guys, welcome back to another Solo Leveling Arise video. My name is DFree, and we are talking about rerolling and what you should be targeting in Solo Leveling Arise. I hope you all enjoy. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content like this. About 80% of viewers aren't currently subscribed, so make sure you're joining that 20% of winners and subscribing. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by clicking the link down below in the description. I'm an official creator for Solo Leveling Arise, which is really awesome. Thank you, Netmarble, if you're watching. And yeah, that's really cool. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do any sort of giveaways because I may in the future host giveaways, and if I do, well, I will be for sure, but if I do, it's gonna be through that support thing. So make sure you click that button by clicking the link in the description, clicking support on my profile. Again, description or pinned in the comments. Okay, the first thing I want to tell you is talking about rerolling. I recommend rerolling on mobile. It's just going to be easier because they have the guest client option on PC. The way I understand it is that you have to basically just log out, delete account, whatever option it is, and then constantly just create new emails and just go like that, which, I mean, who wants to do that when you can just log in with a guest? And on mobile, there's also another button that allows you to go a little quicker. That would just basically allow you to skip the tutorial. So initially when you log in, you're going to be brought to the title screen. It's going to make you sign up on PC. If you're doing that, or on mobile, you can click guest, and then it'll walk you through the tutorial. And then after you do the tutorial, it'll allow you to summon. And if you like what you get, you can go from there. And if you don't, you can go to the settings button here. You can click account, and in the very bottom on the left side, and then you can either just log out, start over, or on mobile, there's that other button right below the email option that would allow you to do that. Once you have an account you like, though, go back to that page and sign up for the red email option at the bottom. You will need that for the Netmarble support thing I mentioned earlier, but also this will allow you access to just all their Netmarble related stuff. It's just the Netmarble email account, that's all it is, and you can just sign up for that and link your account that way if you want. Well, all right, so this portion is a little bit different. It's for, ooh, excuse me, just had some soda. It's for the people. This is what you get, man. You get the blooper. This is for the people that are going to be willing to spend some money. If you're not, feel free to skip ahead a moment. So this is something you're going to see when you log in. And what this is it allows you to do 15 pulls, and you get to choose whatever pull you want out of all the options you had, and you get to hang on to that. I'm not sure why it gave me a second page. It let me do 30. Maybe it was because I made the transaction, because you do, I believe, have to actually buy the $10 subscription to be able to do that. You do, by the way, also have to buy that subscription on mobile, probably because it has to do like a recurring $10 a month thing. They can't do that through the PC client, I guess. I'm not sure, which is maybe why it's coming to Steam eventually, which, by the way, yes, it is. Anyway, and the tricky thing about this is that these are just regular gacha pulls. You don't get to do a rate up or anything, and they have the standard rates, so you kind of just get what you get. you get what you get. The good news is apparently once every week you can do this, is what it looks like, and I'm not sure if that's exactly how it'll be, but it looks like that's the case, because it looks like in just under 8 days I'll be able to do this again, and maybe I'll get to choose another SSR that I potentially pull, so that's pretty cool. So you can obviously do that and get what you want. I settled on Emma, and the reason why is because I wanted another duplicate of her. So just to kind of give you an example, all right, so let me just show you this. The top characters you're going to want to go for are going to be Chahain here, Choi Jungin, he's amazing. Silvermane should be fixed. Crit damage was bugged in the game. He should be fixed, but I wouldn't really recommend going for him because he uses the same currency as Chahain. One thing you can do is you can get her and then move to the other banner. However, I'll kind of explain duplicates in a moment. You want those three. You want these next three as well. Min Byung-gu, Seo, however you pronounce it, and then Emma as well. And then the last character I would even recommend going for is Baek Yoon-ho. Everyone else, I would say, can come to you as you go. Libora has amazing utility. This guy has an amazing support skill. Dong-soo may have the best damage in the game, by the way, between him and then these other two. So there's that. Part of the reason, oh well, Alicia or Chahain, excuse me, those three on the top, and then Dong-soo are probably the 4 best damagers in the game. This is the best support in the game, and it's not close. These two are really good damagers, but also have different utilities with shields and other bonuses. And then things start getting a little bit tricky when these characters also get access to more duplicates, because they get much better. So I'm not really going to explain too much of these first couple of dupes, because they require you to have to already know what the game, you know, how to play the game basically with breaks and all that stuff, which I don't think they even explained to you in the initial tutorial before your summons. But this third dupe is really awesome on her. They're all amazing, but that third one is where things start getting really juicy. The heat absorption effect is applied to the entire team. Heat absorption is right here. Increases the user's defense by 7.7 after 10 stacks. User recovers 7.7% of their damage taken, and after 15 stacks of it, they get a shield, things like that. So applying that to your entire team is pretty damn good. And there are other characters in here that also do some disgusting things when they start getting more and more duplicates. But for the most part, all the characters I mentioned to you work amazing without duplicates. So the reason I wanted to start off with that is because the list does change a bit depending on what you're going for. For example, I personally am not going for this guy without this first duplicate. That first duplicate makes a huge difference on him with the criticals. You really want that. Troy, same thing. First dupe is pretty damn good. I think you could be fine without him. But the most that they do with most of these characters is that first dupe is really strong, and they kind of go from there. Same thing here. Thin Byung-gu is damn good, but that first dupe is almost make or break good on him. Like, you extremely want this. All team members' critical hit rate and critical hit damage increases by 8%, and increases light party members' damage by 12%. Like, it's extremely self-explanatory. Now, outside of that, I wanted to cover weapons as well, because I have a similar dialogue for weapons. You want the Plum Sword, arguably the best weapon in the entire game right now. The Scythe is amazing. However, the Scythe does require duplicates, in my opinion. By default, it just basically gives it more damage and eats your life away. But it gets stronger by a lot with that first dupe. It gets a 25% crit rate increase, which is amazing on Sung Jin-woo. Also, extra damage with the second dupe. The third one has a regeneration effect in there. Decreases the cooldown, and the last one's pretty insane. Makes you take more damage, but increases your attack by a lot. That's pretty insane. Who cares? Because of the way the game's designed. You can really do well with this weapon, though. I used it until literally yesterday without any for the last month, playing the early access version of the game. And Thetis Grimoire, amazing weapon in my opinion. The other two SSR weapons are pretty solid, but I really think they need dupes to really shine. This one here, that first dupe is insane on the Huntsman, so if you happen to get two of those, I would keep that. And for the record, I didn't really make this extremely clear. The reason why I'm talking about dupes as well is because if you happen to do something where like a reroll where it's like, oh, I got 2 copies of this SSR weapon, and do I keep that, right? We're going to talk about those scenarios in a minute, but like that does matter. Oh, I got 2 copies of Cha-Hae-in. Do I want this? Do I want something? Well, obviously you want that, but you get my point, right? So when we get out of here and we go over to the gachas, let's talk about the gachas real quickly here. Because I've now, by the way, already told you the main things you're going for. You're going for some combination of the stuff I've talked about glowingly. That's going to be these 2 weapons right here. Scythe, the Plum Sword, Emma here, and also Seo here. However you pronounce it. Those are some of the best things you can go for. You want you really want Cha-Hae-in here on her own banner, things like that. So let's start off by talking about the gacha in the game. So the pity does transfer between these banners. If you notice, these 2 banners have their own white ticket or silver ticket currency, while this banner is always here and it uses its own black ticket. Now the black ticket is one you're going to get all the damn time playing this game. Like, they give it away like candy, especially when you first start playing the game. It's extremely easy to get. However, initially I was telling people to kind of blow those, also not to exchange for the black tickets by using these currencies at the top, because they were so easy to get. And that's still kind of true, but there is importance to these banners now, because after a while they started adding characters here. Troy right here was just like Cha-Hae-in and just like Silverman Baek Yoonho. He was his own banner on the side as a rate up. Flat out, by the way, they flat out added this Moon Shadow weapon right here by itself without putting it on a rate up or anything. It's just flat out added it here. So that tells me that the characters like Cha-Hae-in will eventually make her way here. She'll probably be here in about almost 2 months, about 7 weeks, something like that. Also, they will also potentially add stuff here. So, like, don't go crazy with your tickets, is my point. Moon Shadow, by the way, I don't have it, so I don't have any recommendations on it. I hear that it's amazing. But, all right. So, that's how things look. So, the gacha starts off with a pull rate of 1.2. And, wrong button. Starts off with a pull rate of 1.2. When you get around 64, this does apply to all the gachas. When you get around 64, the rate will start climbing by almost 6%. It's like 5.7 or something like that. Every single summon you do until you get a SSR pull. Yes, every single summon will raise your pull rate. So when you get around 64, until you get there, you are going to get something. Until you get to the point where it's 100% chance on the 80th draw. If you somehow got to the 80th draw, you were lottery luck unlucky if you got that far without getting an SSR. So naturally, if you pull any SSR in the process, that will reset your pity for you as well. All that stuff does apply to these banners. Now, the pull rate starts by default extremely low. I keep hitting the wrong button. But the good news is the rate up character here, Chaheen, or the 4 options you chose, they make up half of any given pull rate. No matter how much it raises, they always make up half of it. Now, with this, it's kind of tricky because you got to choose 4. You can't cheese the system and say, oh, I only want 2, so there's a better chance to get those 2. No, you got to choose 4. And then as a result, those 4 will always make up half of the pull rate. There's 0.6 here out of 1.2, and then the rest are making up the remainder. Now, as time goes on, this will also get a little bit diluted with more characters weighing it down for those other characters, which adds more of an increased importance on what you're selecting as your rate up. So there's that. And again, Chaheen has 0.6 out of it, so you get the point. So what you want to do is you want to get Chaheen, and my recommendation is to actually go for a copy of a duplicate on her. I really think you should go for a dupe on Chaheen and call it from there. If you somehow can get 2 copies of her and that's part of your reroll, keep it. No matter what, keep it. Now, I typically, here's the deal, typically recommend people have an SSR Hunter and an SSR weapon to start with. That's my recommendation. 1 SSR Hunter, 1 SSR weapon. It will not be hard for you to get SSR Hunters and weapons in the future because they give a lot of currency, particularly now with global launch, but even in early access with new accounts, it's extremely easy to get gotcha pulls, and then from there it's just up to your luck, right? Now my tricky thing is with some of this stuff like the scythe, I talked about how it really needs dupes. Well, the good news is you can get 2 copies of the scythe for free in the challenges here, but it will be extremely late game for you. Well, it's like it's technically mid game. That's where this is where the cutoff was pretty much for like end game for the early access, but now there's new content. So but see, there's a copy right here for free, but this isn't until you get around chapter 15 of the main story, which is pretty hard. You'd have played the game for a few weeks by that point, so you're obviously not looking to re-roll, so maybe you're able to be patient. They will give you that, and there's one other copy in here somewhere, so you will get a couple copies of it. So there's that. The other one's in chapter 9 for chapter 12 completion. So that's kind of another thing that's a little bit tricky, so keep that in mind. But like I was saying, you want 1 hunter, 1 weapon as your primary, and from there it actually kind of doesn't really matter a ton who you're going to go for. Now, the tricky thing is for hunters, I think having Chaheen is a huge buffer to your progress early game in this game. These 2 also are huge buffers to your progress early game in this game. They have so much utility, and then in the case of like Seo, however you pronounce it, she also right now is the only way to really effectively beat the damn Cerberus boss. That will probably change in a few weeks. But yeah, but nonetheless, she just does insane damage. They both do insane damage, have utility, that's crazy, things like that. And that's without duplicates. Okay, I just want to make that clear. Without duplicates, they're doing that. Speaking of just pure DPS, Choi, amazing character. If you get any of these 3 characters early on, especially if you have Chaheen, you're going to be amazing. Now, another thing I want to throw your way is Min Byung-gu. He does damn near no damage, but his role is to switch in and switch the hell back out. So if you get him, he's solid without a dupe, but he is insane with 1 dupe minimum for the extra crit increase, because that will just help. And he, at that point, with a dupe in him, he becomes a character that you use in any piece of content. It doesn't matter. He's always on the team. Whether you're playing as Jinnu, you're playing as the Hunters, it doesn't matter. He's always on the damn team because of that, right? Also, Baek Yoonho proper, the regular original just Baek Yoonho. Best breaker currently in the game. Definitely worth having as well. Lim here, pretty damn strong character too. He's like really polarizing for some reason. I just think it's a playstyle thing. Speaking of polarizing, nobody likes Dongsu, probably because he's a villain, but he's got some of the best damage in the entire game. Also similar to Seo, can also spam his skills, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, like I said, I would go for those 2. And in terms of weapons, if it wasn't clear, these 2 are extremely strong. If you want to take that one off, my next best option will be Thetis Grimoire. I actually personally rocked this set of these 2 weapons without duplicates for between the month and a half we had early access for like 6 weeks. No, that's a whole 6 weeks, my bad. 4 out of 6 weeks, excuse me. I rocked these 2. and basically cleared all the content in the game. So that is how things look for me. I don't want to say all of it because there's still a decent bit I didn't do, but a good portion of content. So that is pretty much my recommendation. I recommend all those hunters, all those weapons, some combination. But it all starts with Shaheen, because I think that you come here and you do what you can to pull her and start things off well with her. So, all right, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe. Remember, click the support link down below in the description to help me out. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think. I'll see you all next time.